Very good, okay. Okay, we call to order the Port of Allen Public Water System Advisory Committee regular meeting for March 4th, 2026. And I guess first is pledge of allegiance. No other rules, skip that. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, roll call. Jeff Carey.
Scott Gordon.
Jim Freeman.
Hey, you have an agenda, any additions, corrections, and subtractions?
Nope.
I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
I second it.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, approval of the minutes. We'll take January 7th first. I see one correction that needs the spelling of my last name.
What was that?
On the January 7th, page 1 of 3.
Okay, what's the correction?
Correcting my last name from Crey to
Oh.
Carey. Otherwise, they'll find me and I'll entertain the motion.
Okay, me, I'll make a motion to.
A second.
All in favor?
It's been moved and seconded with the correction of my last name.
Yeah.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Approved. Minutes of the February 16th, 2026 meeting.
Do you have a clean copy you want signed?
Yeah, I will, I'll make that correction real fast and then,
Okay,
then I'll let you sign it.
Nice.
That way I know we're done.
so. Okay. So then you have the February 16th. I didn't see anything in there myself.
You have anything?
No.
Make a motion to approve the February 16th meeting minutes.
I second it.
Been moved and seconded. All those in favor? Aye. And Travis, you said you'll have a master copy come through and we'll.
Yeah, so
Sign
it's just on the approval of minutes, A and B where the name is misspelled.
Well,
Everything else is.
so you want me to sign that one?
Yeah, no, let me just print this off and then I can attach it to it.
With the second one, you're doing both sets of minutes?
Yeah.
Okay, take it down.
This one, yeah. That's the February 16th.
Say good sign.
Yeah, well, got it.
Want to make sure I got Jeff's approval first, but okay.
One motion.
Right. Yeah. You want me to use one of these as the master? That you printed for us?
Yeah, so
The other one?
I just print it off, so I hand you the signature
Okay.
page for it.
There it goes, all guys.
We sign this one too?
Yeah, please. I know it's backwards, but you know, what the. Nope. Okay. Reports, announcements. Go.
Okay. Well, we've had, and completed several issuance of water availability letters to JDK, Exodus Acres, and what's the other one?
Red door,
What was that?
is the red door?
Yeah, Red. Red Door, we're doing that one through snail mail, so, we'll be getting that, notarized easement agreement back in probably a week, then we'll
Right.
file it. Of course, Red Door will be responsible for the filing fees, and he's aware of that. On a water system consolidation note, our request for additional funding to cover the gap was approved by the Drinking Water State Revolving Fund loan organization, so to speak.
Agents.
So yeah, of course, it is a loan and it is 41% forgivable. So it'll be another $106,000 that we'll be borrowing to complete the project. Which was in addition to our construction budget amount, so it helps us cover the extra costs that were associated with engineering as well.
That's good news.
Yeah. And that was, the loan was, underwritten for us and based off of our financials. So
Right.
they asked for our financials the last 2 years. I sent them over there, and because of the health of the system at this point, the continued collection of, they actually asked the question, why do you have so much more money coming in between 2024 2025? It's like, well, we added a bunch of, users,
Yeah.
and we actually were enforcing our policy when it came to water collections.
Right. Super.
Yep, so we're in a super better position water wise.
Anything else?
Unless you can think of something I'm forgetting. That's it for now.
I take it you haven't, well, that's coming up, never mind.
Well, we did also spend some time proofing our as-bills during the month, and Jeff came up and gave us a hand looking at the as-bills that West Sound Engineers put together for us, and we determined that the majority of our measurements were off 10 feet in a particular direction. So we will be reporting that back to West Sound Engineers for
Their measurements are off.
yes.
Yeah, I mean.
Not your measurements.
No.
Yeah, we did field measurements to prove their measurements, and we found that there was just a consistent error in where the locations were, so.
Right, there's also some things. Items in the drawing, they're coded one way, part of the drawing, and coded another way during the another page, and those kind of things, so. But the biggest thing, like you're saying, is the dimensionally being off significantly, at least an average of 10 feet. Everything being too far north. So somewhere somebody keyed something in.
So hopefully there'll be a quick and easy fix.
Okay, anything else? Let's see,
I had a question. I don't know if it's now or later.
I'll start with a question and we'll find out.
Okay, the plans that we reviewed, I believe the last meeting, has that project started? Has there been groundbreaking on that?
On the JDK one,
Yeah, there was, yes, I believe that's
yeah,
what it
no, there's
was.
no groundbreaking on that. We
Okay.
just I had a conversation with the contractor and pointed out a few things, and he was appreciative of that. He's actually going back to his engineer. And I tentatively approved them based on, there was just very few requirements and needed.
There's stuff about service lines were gonna get replaced or something.
Yeah,
and-
yeah, so.
And he was okay with all that.
Yeah, he's gonna talk it over with their engineer.
Okay.
And he'll have to bring that back for me to review and for the water committee to review, but I didn't find it to be something that would stop him moving forward with the permitting process.
Right, and then the Pape and Sons, I guess, got the bid to tie the two systems together. Has that ground been broken yet?
No, so I got an email from Brad Appleman that it looks like our shipping date is like April 16th.
Hmm.
For the last piece, the 4-inch valve.
Oh, cause
Yeah.
somewhere I came across, there was a date like the end of May. Is that?
Yeah, no, well, I think it got moved up, I think,
Oh.
yeah, so, I will look at the email again, but
Super.
he emailed.
That was my
me
two questions.
last
No,
month.
no, and it,
Yeah, at first we were talking about middle or the.
and I think you missed the end of May one, because when it came in a little bit late for the last meeting, we had discussed it.
Oh,
And so then when he said April, it's like, wait a second, didn't he say the end of May? I saw something that said the end of May, but, no, that's great.
Yeah, shipping date from California is gonna be 4/8,
Okay, then a week, you know.
so, and that's the 4-inch clav valve,
Right,
the PRV.
so then Paperson's looking to start fairly soon after that, you're saying, okay, super.
It might be moved up a bit.
I mean, I just talked to somebody, that, you know, at 211 that, would be very happy about that.
Sure, oh yeah, oh yeah. There's a few houses that would be very appreciative.
Because we were talking about moving, you know, some, you know, landscaping, and yeah, I said, and he asked me, he said he talked to you about it, and I said, yeah, I think, you know, we'll have something by the end of May. He said, it can't come sooner than that. So,
Right.
okay. Committee members, anything, anybody want to announce or report? You had questions, but, anything else? No, I don't have any. Old business, water system plan update, planning, da, da, da.
I think if I just go back, I
Yeah.
think, we had a pretty good, pretty solid, Mason Water Group meeting.
Yeah,
This month.
thank you. Yeah, I thought so too, and the next one's looking real good, so, yeah, thank you, it's working.
And what day is that? Cause
It's the second Tuesday of the month, 10 a.m.
This coming Tuesday,
and that's not.
Limerick.
and it's, there's gonna be a really good one about water sampling and about how the engineers interact with, the water systems. There'll be two little class deals on this next one, so it'll be a little heavy on the training, but it'll be well worth it.
And the engineer, presentation will be by Mike Michaels.
Oh, yeah. Huh.
Yes.
Oh, that's almost like all the planets are lining up.
Yeah,
Cool.
be the world of time delay.
Is there anybody on Zoom tonight or no?
No, I
Oh,
don't
and
see
I-
anybody.
Okay,
Yeah, there's still nobody on talking then.
You had the public comment at the end, so I didn't even pick up on that, but. But you're saying there is not at this moment?
Yeah,
None
there
of the others, that's okay.
Correct.
Okay, so on to the water system plan update.
So, I provided copies here of Belfair Water Developer Extension Manual and then their specs. And my thought process is to go through the developer's extension manual and try to tailor some of it to fit with the port's water policy when it comes to the language that should correlate to the specs.
Right, I just started looking at that, and what I did is kind of like, looked at, you know, Belfair Waters, and then I also looked at West Sound and one other. And it's funny, as time goes on, more words are added.
yeah.
And, I mentioned something to Travis this morning, that, to me, it looks like an addition, you know, I'm not a believer in adding more red tape, but at the same time, if you're doing something, let's make it all the same. You know, consistently, and while all of them call out the spec of, you know, like a CAD drawing and all this. You know, for the record drawings and all that kind of stuff.
Alright,
You need to put, personally, I believe you need to put some specs to that. What I mean by that is, for example. The water goes in one layer, other utilities go in another layer of the same drawing. So when you look at the drawing, it looks like just, you know, one flat drawing, but. That way, when you're correcting and updating, you're not messing with the other utilities. Is that, you know what I'm trying to say?
I understand,
Yeah.
everybody runs independent and
Yeah,
it's certainly not, in my opinion, it's not the port's job to monitor or figure out where all the sewer lines
well,
are.
no, I'm not saying figure, I'm saying when they're identified.
Yeah.
As they're identified and come across,
And you want the port to have those records of like, hey, it's 6 feet deep and it's.
or like where, especially if nothing else, just where the crossings are.
Yeah,
where we're going over the top of each other. And I'm saying, even if it's not there, what I'm really trying to say is if we're, for example, in the one drawing we had from Apex, was it, or the one for the phase two?
AES.
AES, okay. They had like stormwater, water and sewer. And just say for about just stormwater. At least put each one on its own, when I say own layer, just there's a file for each layer. So that when they adjust the water things and make the corrections in the water thing, that, we're not messing with the other utilities in the drawing.
Right, so what the normal process would be, a developer comes into town, says,
Yeah.
oh, I love this
Yeah,
land, he
yeah,
buys the
yeah.
land.
Yeah,
Then he's like, he goes around, he gets approval, he gets drawings, I wanna do apartments, I wanna do
yeah.
houses, whatever it is. Then he goes and gets the engineer drawings done. At that point, that's kind of on them to do that, and then
okay,
the drawings come back. Because the engineers have these specs and the ports stuff,
but what I'm saying is in those specs,
yeah.
just have them layered.
There is a separation in here, if you come across a door, there's a separation, there's this, and that. But then the prints would come back for the port
Yeah,
approval,
yeah.
and then that's when we all look it over, oh,
Right.
we want an airbag, we want another
Right.
fire hydrant. What about this crossing
Right.
here? And then that gets addressed. Because we send that off to a separate engineer for review.
Sure, I'm with
And
you.
then he even catches, he's like, oh, hey, you missed a sewer line over here or something, you missed this, missed that. And then that gets corrected, it goes back to the original engineer for the developer,
Yeah.
and it gets corrected, and then we look it over again. And then we approve it,
I
so,
agree.
but there is,
I'm not changing any of that.
yeah,
What I'm really saying is how they construct the data in these files and make it grossly easier or harder for the port long term, as far as managing the utility. And I'll define it better. I'm just,
right, I guess,
Yeah.
there's not been a water district I worked at that we kept any records of anything
No.
other than. Wow,
Are you saying they should have a record of the stormwater? And then they should have a record of sewer?
when they come
and they should
across
have
it,
if they do, I'm not even saying that if
Right.
they're an open land and they're only in the water, but like, for example, when we got this one drawing, we had 3 utilities.
Right.
And all I'm saying is when they create this drawing, they create three layers in this drawing. So this is a normal engineering thing. In other words, there's the utility. I'm used to nesting and all kinds of things in data. And so it seems normal to me. Just like that way, if they have to modify the water, they're not editing anything else, the sewer, or the stormwater, or anything. They're only editing the water layer. Does that make any sense? In other words, so things don't get confused and you're staying with the water all the way through.
That's up to the engineer though,
But,
really.
but,
Yeah.
but I'm saying that we should just spec it and be done with it. I mean, we spec so many other things.
so, okay, I gotta wrap my head around this.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm a little slow, Jeff,
No,
so
no problem.
I wanna make sure I hear this, so you want the port to have access when data is available. On where the sewer line is, or where the phone line is, or the cable TV line. On each project that's going in, and if they dig it up, you've got that data and you wanna
Yeah.
have it here, is that right?
Kind of, but
Okay.
that's not my driving force. My real driving force is when somebody wants to do a project,
Yeah,
just have them spec it. Let's just say they don't do any of it, just want it. But if they run across and they do a driveway or they do other things, make it in another layer than, or don't put it all in the same layer.
of the drawing itself.
Yes,
Well, they normally have a storm section drawing, and they normally have a water section drawing, they normally have a sewer section, and a
Hopefully.
topography section.
yeah,
They normally have all that, and then the other lines for the sewer and stuff, when on the water.
Yeah.
They're on there too, but it's normally faint, and then the
Yeah.
water line's dark, they can follow you.
let's not belabor it for a moment. Let me
Okay.
find what I'm trying to, because obviously I hear what you're saying. And maybe I'm not communicating it and understanding it totally either. So let me find some stuff. And if I'm all wet, hey,
I'm assuming that the engineers already have that. They're drawing out the sewer line and that's a layer. And so they could print that copy if they really want to, and drying out,
Yes,
the next
yeah.
layer is the stormwater.
You can.
That's there now, and the next one is your
Yeah,
power
right,
or what
whatever.
have you, and when they print it out, they put all those layers together and they print your final copy out.
Right,
But technically, they could, print out
Correct.
that, I'm assuming that's the way it
That's,
is.
yes. Okay,
as long as we're getting, that's where I wanna get to.
But then the
If we-
final copy after it's all done, I assume that's
so
kind of your,
you should not get, as a district, you should not get just the water drawings. You should have the master set
Yes,
to show grade, show phone lines, storm's its own set.
yeah,
Sewer's its own set.
yes,
So you should have a master set and, if you had 100 home lot development, that print should be this thick at the end of the day.
right.
And it should have everything in there. So you should have, I think,
I think we're
think
saying
part of
it's on
roughly.
a thumb drive.
yeah, I think in here it says that
Electronic
we want
version.
3 copies and then we have to have as-built.
Yeah,
After that
Right,
stuff,
yeah.
so,
I think we're close to saying the same thing.
okay,
It's just. My nomenclature versus yours, that
Right.
maybe is.
I don't wanna put any extra burden on the court and if there's.
No,
There, what it is, and, I don't know, we need to
There we-
track all that.
I guess some of this has been driven by two of the last 3 engineers.
Right, I know it's been a little bit of a cluster up there, let's just
Right,
say,
yeah,
that.
right.
So yeah,
And maybe, that's what's influencing my little local universe up here versus the rest of the world type thing, so. Anyway, just,
okay, okay.
anyway, back to water system plan.
Okay.
I started looking at the extension in. But I'm not anyway ready to.
It's
Yes,
gonna take some
yeah,
time, it's probably gonna take 2 or 3 meetings, cause this has. to
like I said,
be-
that's gonna come more on your guys' expertise rather than mine as far as what,
Your opinion's very valuable, Scott.
what, what design the spec, why
That's why
spec
we're all
wise.
here.
but see, and that's, it's rare that you get a committee. Made up, so to speak, guys with 3 different levels of experience. And some of my weird experience in a whole nother field.
No, it's important,
Yeah.
it's gonna take 2, 3 meetings.
I'd agree.
I don't wanna rush this, cause when this gets done, this is gonna be a heavy foundation for years to come.
Yes.
And then there'll be tweaks off of this,
Right.
over the years, but this will be the foundation.
I
It's
agree.
a very massive deal, and I personally don't wanna rush it, so.
So what I see here is the port's water policy. Currently, I would say covers all the way until section 6. Where it gets into design, general construction procedures, design standards and water main extensions. Now, the water policy or the complete water manual has their version of that passed from when it was adopted in 2017. But this is a much more updated version of the standard designs and minimum requirements.
This being,
Yes, this being,
Proposed.
yeah,
proposed.
the developer's extension manual starting around item 6.
I'll say this too, it's gonna be a lift, but maybe Travis doesn't have to be here for that lift. Maybe
agree.
we can kind of go through it and then say, hey,
well,
here's where we're at, he can be at the last meeting or something.
well, the problem, is the workshop, he's got this public meeting thing, issues, and that's it, but yeah.
We're an advisory committee, we're not elected officials, we're not this, we're not that,
I hear you,
yeah.
but I've gone through the training with the county as an advisory, on a planning advisory committee, advisory. And anytime, in that case, anytime 4 of us get together, we have a problem. It's gotta be a meeting or it doesn't happen.
That's amazing, so
So I'm
I
saying,
just thought we're the advisory committee, maybe Travis wouldn't have to be here for a meeting or 2 to help him a little bit, and then we just advise him, and then.
no,
Okay, that's all.
yeah. I'm with you, I'd be happy to do it that way, but. It's nice,
Okay.
it's nice not to know certain rules, and then once you learn them, it's like, oh crap.
No, yeah, I don't know all. the
Yeah,
ins and
yeah,
outs.
no, I get it, and it's,
Gotcha,
so,
okay,
So, and if I might kind of propose the question, the way I'm seeing with the developer's extension manual, it really starts to dig into the language that follows the actual approved specs around section 10, where it goes into the mechanical water system. That's ring a bell? Yeah. Where you start to talk about your pipes and fittings and iron ductile. So, valve and apparatuses, that's the language that gives the guidance towards these drawings.
Yes. And I think it should talk about easements a little bit at some
Yep, it does
point.
talk about easements, which aren't really part of the mechanical specs, but yeah, also very important. So I can see where we're going to be filtering this knowledge to update the basically the minimum spec requirements and standard installation requirements that the board has.
I believe there's also in there, maybe that's a section you're like, hey, we're good as far as the port. It shows the steps on this and that and the fees that have to be charged and stuff and that, all that stuff. You know, you do what you want, but is that the section you're like, hey, we're pretty good on that?
Yeah,
section?
yeah, because we've adopted a water policy that puts that into perspective.
Right, so you want to you wanna make sure that this here matches the developer extension manual and probably morph that into the port's
Yeah,
already
right.
existing plan.
And you're saying from your observation, this developer extension manual that Jim's presenting is more or less falling after chapter 6.
Yeah, it's pretty much after chapter 6, going all the way back.
Okay,
So chapter 12 talks about spill response and erosion control. Some things that may have just been lightly touched on our water policy, but there's yeah, there's some things here that, you know, we may look at our water policy and say, well, maybe we're a little deficient.
right, so basically, if I understand the task for us kind of at hand is get up to speed on the port's water policy, then start to get up to speed on this sample here, and then start with, you know, what tweaks, what merges, what, you know, needs to be, and it's gonna take, like I say, it's gonna take several meetings.
It's gonna take a while, now, and I'll give you some background, so I have the specs made. And then there's been a couple changes that need to be made in there already, and maybe that can be addressed,
Sure.
you know, with you guys,
Yeah.
since I've already went through the paint.
Yeah,
And then these specs got sent off to the other engineer and had this made. So this should, which I believe coincide.
I see, so you said this set of specs to a new engineer
Correct.
with this.
And he made
draft,
this.
and he made the manual.
Yeah,
Okay.
so this should mirror
Right.
on that section
I
you
see,
want.
I see the logic in it.
It should mirror what
Right,
that is, but there's already a couple things that probably need to be, and they're small, but they
Sure.
probably need to be corrected in these.
and it's always the thing when you're documenting these, and when you really get right down to it, oh. You know, hits you like between the eyes.
But I'll say this stack of paper here
Yeah.
was $13,000.
That was my next question.
This
So-
one here
Yeah.
was 15.
Yeah.
and those are,
That's
those are all parts and pieces into $180,000 water system plant up there.
Yes, you have to have all this to go into the comp plan, but you know, this stuff's extremely important because whatever happens in the field. It should be what's mirroring here because the port is going to have it forever. So you need to make sure that these standards are followed and da 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 da. That's why they're very valuable.
That's the
Right.
next question is who's rewriting this? You're rewriting this or is it gonna,
So.
like you just said, I guess my thought is, why aren't we taking the port's information and updated information and then sending someone to review it, just like you said, and putting it into one packet
We're trying-
and printing out for us to review? I mean, is that,
Well, I think he needs, and there, I know there's a few changes here. And maybe we wanted to read this a little bit,
Yeah.
and see this,
See,
and then go through that process. I
I
think,
think so. I mean, even if it's 100% perfect. you wanna see how it just, how it works with this, with, you know, in our,
Because of sections like, say, section 4, the extension application. Our extension application process is different than the Belfair Wires.
Right.
So we would look at this and go that, well, we may look at this and make some changes to our actual extension,
Right.
application process.
right,
But we're going to keep the meat and potatoes of what we've already approved. So there might be something where we go, well, maybe we'd like to describe it this way because it'll be easier for a contractor to follow rather than what we have.
Correct.
What do you give that to us to review that or?
Yeah, we would still get, so
I
once
guess
we,
my point
yeah,
is,
yeah,
my point is, if you take all that time to do that, it's like dealing with an attorney. You take all that time to do that and you send it off, it's all gonna get rewritten. So it's kind of I just concerned about the time frame of doing that, when you're gonna send that off and something to rewrite your work that you just put all this time into. So I mean, is that something to where you make some quick notes to it and then you send that off to update what you got mirror, and then
so
review
just
that
make,
final
yeah,
copy?
make notes of the changes that you're making. to
I mean,
it.
just the thing, you brought up things changes, like, yeah, you might make those notes and these things, but now is that gonna? I'd be willing to bet if you send it off to an engineer, that what we say, or you're gonna, it's not gonna jive with the engineer, and they're gonna have a whole different take on
Yeah,
it.
and they're gonna spend a whole bunch.
And so you're gonna spend a bunch of time with all of our ideas, bring that forward, when if they're gonna actually rework the final document, they're probably gonna make a bunch of changes and, you can take all that time to do that.
it's kind of a mixture, in my mind, mixture of both. I think, because I think, on the one hand, there's things that we find that, anything we put down, we probably all think is, important when we all said and done. It may or may not be required, we may be addressed somewhere else, but I don't, to some degree. then It's like, I've never been impressed by leaving an engineer on his own to create something.
No, I get that.
I mean, for whatever reason, and I'm not saying it's, a defect or anything, I'm just saying. It always seems like it has to come back, and it's like if we can if we can catch some of the big pieces that might. Dovetail into this, that's my thinking. At least this, I mean, we could try it, and if it's not going well, we can abort and go the other way.
I just wanna do whatever is best.
Yeah, I just want to give everybody, I want time,
Right,
time's important, so I'm just looking at, if Travis is gonna be writing all these notes, he's gonna rewrite the whole thing, that's one thing. But it's all gonna go out to an engineer to be, like you just said, this was 13,000, this was 15,000.
It was.
They put it all together, so to me, you make a bunch of notes off of this copy and that copy and the ports, and hey, these are the things we wanted to make sure in here, blah, blah, then you send it off, and then you review that rework.
So we would make notes based on what we want the engineer to review and say, hey, the rest of the stuff we're okay with already. So that they're spending less time and less of our money doing the review process.
Right, you basically need to note the things that are specific to the ports system, and this is what's specific to the port, and this is generalized information that I would assume everybody is utilizing, for the most part, and then you're gonna rework that.
Because for the most part, the engineer is only going to really look at the technical side of it. We're not gonna have them look at the administrative procedural side of it.
Right.
which you're pretty much happy, that's as far as how your procedures are here.
Well, and like okay, so water system plan, it has these sections like history. I mean, we can create that and at least get that in outline form. Where it gets a little more interesting is capital facilities. But even there, there's a fair amount we can do. Cause I mean, we kind of know where we gotta go, big pieces.
Yeah, and I know of 5 changes just on this section here, so.
Yeah, Yeah.
However you guys wanna start, I don't care, and
but I agree that it's gonna take a meeting or two to run through it, at least. And so basically, we gotta get immersed in it a little bit.
yeah, I'm kind of one trick pony, I just soon
Yeah.
start at one
Yeah, no, but
phase of whatever you wanna go through.
I don't think you wanna do that tonight, yeah, do you?
No, well, this was kind of a broad
Yeah.
overview. of-
Yes, okay.
I can say this, I know, I don't know how long we want the meeting to go, but we've already kind of looked at these pretty hard.
Yeah,
Yeah,
That's
About 6
yeah,
meetings ago,
we're really good with these.
yeah,
except for the 6 changes I need to tell you about, so that's what maybe we can get through this tonight. With the 6 changes and be done,
that's fair.
Yeah, let's talk about those
Okay.
6 changes.
after I use the rest.
All I would say is that, as committee members, between now and the next meeting, bone up a little bit up. I mean, he's boned up, but us, you and I, bone up on this one a little bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know.
But I just, I've been in these processes and stuff before, I just, it's, it's outside of my wheelhouse of the technical stuff, so.
Yeah.
And again, I go always refer to an attorney, a lot of this stuff
Yeah, I
is,
know.
is just, they have it in there,
Yeah, I know.
procedural stuff
Yes.
that's.
And you only deal with it when you have to.
Yes, and it's not every project has its problems either, so. Okay, so then when Jim gets back, then we'll go through this. This document here, the construction standards. Is that what you're calling this? The D01? What are we calling this? Travis,
What was that?
the one with the, like the, valve.
Oh, so that would be the minimum construction specs.
So, okay. So we'll call this the minimum inspection. Spec.
The way that the ports water manual is written is literally like, it is a detailed, language about the specs. Ahead of all the specs. That's in an outline form.
It just needs to reference it. Just need
Yeah.
like reference links and that's it. Oh,
Let's see here.
no problem. I'm cool. So any heat you wanna get in there is fine.
Yeah. Okay, so did we have a plan of attack here or?
Yes, we have agreed that we're gonna take these construction specs pamphlet and go through it
Okay.
with the 5 or 6 things we know.
Note the changes.
Yeah,
Okay, so where I'm at is, let's go right to the fire hydrant section, which I don't know off the top of my head. Right here, it is going to be F1.
F1.
On the back side.
Right.
There you go, okay.
Yeah.
Now, it got spec'd in Mueller, which is an amazing product. Mueller products have been around well over 100 years.
right,
Well-known in the industry and well-regarded. So, and the other thing with fire hydrants, if you allow any fire hydrant in, if you put like 4 equal, you will end up with every fire hydrant known to man coming in to the district. It makes it hard for the districts in the future with parts
right,
and knowledge to tear them apart and repair them.
yep,
So I stepped up and I says, the bulk of our hydrants up the new section of the highway is Mueller,
right,
Super Centurion. Great. So I said, this is what we're gonna commit to, this is what we're gonna train the guys on, this is what we are.
good,
So this one here, if you notice on number 10 of the hydrant, let's see, number 10, let's see, maybe it ain't 10, it is 8 and 10. Resiliency, gate valve, hydrant be furnished, so it has a check valve. I don't know if you can see that picture, fire hydrant internal check valve. You see that?
which number is it?
And I don't know if there is a number on it,
Oh, okay.
it's between 10 and 7, they got a note here.
Oh, yes,
Okay,
Yeah.
so, which is great. That prevents backflow prevention and stuff, that prevents somebody,
yeah,
coming up with a truck and pumping something in, that's great, you should have a tight system.
but,
And that's where on number 2, it says hydrant to be Mueller Super Centurion 250/HS. That is high security. The high security is the check valve,
oh,
okay?
yeah,
So the problem is, it's a great idea, it's an amazing product, it's great. But you can't hardly get them out here on the west coast. I have ordered 2 of the hydrants. The first time it took me 6 months to get the first one in that I put in. I have ordered 2 more.
okay,
I'm now over 8 months waiting period.
Mm.
So what we decided to do, what we're doing is we're leaving this in. And then what's happening is the wholesalers are calling me saying, hey, I'm bidding this job. It says right here, Mueller Super High Security. Well, we know there's a problem trying to get them.
Right,
So what I've been telling them is we want Mueller Super Centurion, period, bar none.
right,
And they make a bolt-on fire hydrant approved check valve. You can use any brand you want, but it's gonna have a check valve on it. But it's gonna be a standard Mueller Super Centurion hydrant, which is very common.
right,
So there was one that went in that had at the apartments, a Mueller hydrant, perfect. And then they put an AVK brand, it's a brand,
yeah,
AVK,
sure,
check valve on there, and they bolted it in. We end up with the same result,
right.
but we still are having the Mueller Super Centurion, so I don't know how you guys want to address that. And if maybe we just change number two to the hydrant to be Mueller Super Centurion 250, and then leave off the HS, and then with a bolt-on check valve. I don't know. I don't know how to address that.
Well, personally, I like the concept of saying, okay, we'll go with one, one being the spec of the Mueller Centurion. But then just basically knock off the HS and then have a separate entry for the check valve.
Right, and here's the other thing, and I left it all in here, I didn't
Yeah,
change it.
yeah,
And the reason I left it in there, I felt like at some point Mueller is gonna get their act together and really start producing and shipping the hydrants out here. So I felt like in between time, a year, whatever, 2-year window, I'll just tell the developers when they come, hey, just put a normal Mueller in, great, and put on a check valve.
Does HD Fowler sell those?
No, HD Fowler does not have the Mueller brand. That is Ferguson and Core and Main.
Yeah.
So two major distributors.
right,
So you got some competition with pricing for the developers and stuff, but HD Fowler does not carry these. They
Yeah.
can get them.
Do they carry the check valve
Yes,
separately?
yep, but they can't
The
get
point is,
the,
let's make sure there's a local area
yes.
to purchase them. They can purchase it, locally here and.
So if HD Fowler wanted a Mueller product, they have to go to Ferguson or Core and Main to buy it. So it's gonna be high.
Okay.
But you've got Ferguson, major deal, and you got Core and Main, which is a major supplier.
right.
So they got some competition, but what happened was the one that got put in at the apartments came from Core and Main. And it was Mueller, and then it had a bolt-on check valve, which was a different brand of Mueller. We didn't care, as long as it's an approved
Yeah.
fire hydrant
Yeah.
bolt-on check. And I said, that's fine, go ahead, let's get her in there.
Okay.
So I don't know how you want the spec to be. Do you want to leave it as written and deal with it the way I'm dealing with until Mueller starts producing?
Let me ask this question. Is the Centurion 250, it's HR or HS, high security. Does the high security just mean that there's a check valve attached to it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, then literally write it as hydrant to be Mueller Super Centurion 250 with a check valve.
That's my,
Yeah.
I said, that way we can buy one that already has it.
And then literally that means that, and
Right.
have the approved check valve written into the spec.
Yeah, so
Show the check valve in the spec. So it'd have to be redrawn with the check valve. And then anyone who is picking one up would know that if they were able to get a Super Centurion 250 high security, it's just incorporating the check.
just put that in, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm with you, Travis. So it
So,
might not be a Mueller check that gets put in, which is fine. I don't know if we should spec what brand of check gets put in. That's kind of limiting us again.
Is there other brands of check valves that would be?
But as I said,
There's a multitude, and they put in at the apartment a Mueller with an AVK check valve. And I didn't care because it's designed and made and approved for a fire hydrant bolt up check valve.
Right.
It's a very special item. So,
So Super Centurion 250 with approved hydrant check valve.
yep, I kind of leave it. I agree with you.
Then it doesn't matter what brand check valve they get.
Yeah,
It literally tells them it's gotta have it.
And it's an approved check valve. I agree with you. I think that's probably the avenue. And I would highly suggest you stay with the Mueller hydrant. They're great hydrant, easy and parts and stuff. But
Right.
if you put or equal in there,
No.
It's gonna open up a window.
No,
of
so
calls
the
and
problem-
AVKs.
If
and-
equal is really equal, meaning it all
Correct.
built the same way, that'd be one thing, but if everybody's got a little twist, so to speak.
Right.
You need to standardize.
Okay, so that was my fire hydrant.
Do we, question just off top, do we know what hydrants are up here right now?
Got Mueller's.
Okay. I'm just. Yeah, I guess I'm trying to remember, different buys from different parties.
Yeah,
No, so the most recent one that was done wouldn't have been a Mueller because the parts list came from Fowler.
Yeah,
and they have Clow and they're good hydrant, but I was trying to standardize.
No, I agree, I mean, because it just. When things go bad, it's not fun to have source A, source B, source C.
Yeah,
You just-
Dresser still makes hydrants. There are 20 different brands.
You're right, but that's the thing is you just don't need that kind of thing if you can avoid it. So, we good?
I think the way Travis worded it was great. I mean,
Are you good with that, Travis?
Yeah.
Everybody here? I'm good.
yeah,
Okay, what's your next one?
okay.
Scott wants to, let's, bum.
Keep the flow, keep the flow.
Yes.
So on the saddles, I think it's S1.
Okay,
Trying to find it. I did not
that's fine.
do my homework. I thought that this one says 101S, which is correct. Oh, no. Yeah, so we're mixed up here. Number 2. Okay, it says double strap saddle Romac,
Right?
101S or equivalent. Well, a 101S is a single strap.
Yeah,
A 202S
Yeah,
is a
two.
double. So that is mixed up there.
Oh, it just needs to state 202S.
Or just scratch out double and write single strap saddle Romac 101S or equivalent and leave that to be.
well, okay, do we want, I've always used double.
So, and I was just getting to
Yeah.
that. We're gonna have to put a little clause in here if they're running ductile iron, which these specs are wanting ductile iron, and that's probably another discussion.
Right.
But, on the ductile iron, single strap's fine, and
Okay.
the S is the stainless steel
Yeah.
wide band.
Right,
If you're running PVC, I would put double. If you're tapping some of the old concrete pipe, I would put double.
right.
There's reasons I would put double.
I just like double because it just seems like it's just.
It is good, but those single straps are great and the ductile are fine. You'll never have any
Right.
issues and they're great. But you might have to put a clause in here.
Yeah,
You must put, double strap on, I don't know if you spell out each brand of pipe or how.
yeah,
Why not just leave it double strap?
Well, because they're costly and if, like, we have
Enjoy the time you're
we have
using
a 200 lot development coming in and it's all brand new ductile and stuff. They don't have to put in the double straps. They're another $30 or $20
Yeah.
per strap, but they're
Yeah.
putting in 300 ohms. And I told them, I said, listen, it's just single strap, don't worry about it. Now, you have to put a double strap in when you're doing, the larger step. I put doubles in on that
I
on
would-
2 inch.
I would just say-
cats.
I would just say single strap on all ductile iron, all others double. Something to
Yeah.
that effect.
I agree with you. So 2 inch and bigger, 2 inch tap and bigger, I require double strap.
Even on that iron, steel.
Yeah, even on that. for-
Okay, well then you,
So-
it's kind of this week.
But there is another section for 2 inch and bigger and stuff.
Okay,
so
no,
that's separate.
but for this, I would just say, single strap for, ductile iron, double strap for all other pipe types.
Okay.
Is that covered?
Yes, I agree. But that opens up to where we're gonna have to, deal with the piping, because in here it says ductile
I
iron,
know.
so, but okay, but yes, I agree with
Yeah,
that.
I kind of, the problem is we're linearly going through this document, and so
Right,
we get agreement. It's hard to agree on everything until you get agreement on everything.
right, so no, I agree with you, that's great, I
Okay.
got no issues.
Okay.
And then I don't think I
You
had
good,
any.
Travis, on that one?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
I added the sample stations, 'cause I didn't have them in before. And I don't know where we're at up there on the hill as far as development stuff, but whoever comes in next with another section of pipe and stuff, we probably need to get them to put a sampling station in.
Right,
So that's a thing.
which item is that?
I'm getting there, this guy, D7.
So I'm sorry?
D7. So we'll have to keep in mind on the next set that we approve, somebody's extending the main, that they probably need to get a sampling station in somewhere. Now these sample stations, I would say are on the high end by about $400 extra. But they're well worth that and 10 times over. I'm gonna have one of these on display at the next Mason Water Group, and I'm gonna go through all the features, but it's tall. It's about this tall, sticking out of the ground. You walk up to it, it's got a trap door here that comes down. It gets buried to this line here.
Right,
The other thing is it shuts off when it's freezing temperature. You can shut it off, it drains out the bottom.
Oh.
That's only just, we only did it twice this year. Most time it just stays on. The other thing is, dogs like to hike their legs on water stuff, and it's a thing, so. The other ones we had were short sample stations, and I was always worried about that. This is up high.
Okay.
There's a lot of good things, but
Yes, I understand the dog problem.
yes.
Travis, the ones we have like there on Wade Street, do you know what they are?
No idea what brand they are.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of different versions. I like this version, but this is something that's up to discussion on whatever you want. The developer would put this in. This is probably about $400 more than the little tiny
Yeah.
one that's on the ground. But those, I'm telling you, are problems for the future.
Right, but we're only like in a, 1,000-foot run, you're at most, you're gonna have one or two, right?
Oh, you would have one for an entire, so I had them put that in for 144 homes. I had them put in one.
Oh, okay.
So a massive deal.
No,
Yeah,
we're not,
massive.
yeah, we're not, that's the, we talked like on the other thing, like $30, that doesn't seem like much, but then when you multiply it over.
Yes, the saddles add up. This is really not a big
Yeah,
deal.
well,
I just
well, if you only have one for 100 versus three, 100 at 30,
Yeah.
this is a no brainer.
Yeah, so I just wanna make sure that you know what that is, and the Mason Water Group's gonna have one on display, so if you attend.
In bringing this up, it sounds like to me, one thing, just as kind of a speed check thing, and I have no problem if you want to correct, I created or what have you, it's like when we review things, just have like, we need like a quick little checklist that we come down, bang, 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 bang.
Airbags, sample
Yeah,
stations,
yeah.
how big are we, where are we at,
Yeah.
where's the elevation of the pipe, what are we crossing?
Yeah.
And yes, there's certain things they're looking for.
Right, just so that we don't overlook,
Oh, yeah, blow off, hey, where's the blow off at,
Right.
what's happening?
because I'm almost overlooked it and then realized it was in the middle of the street, that airbag.
Yeah, yeah,
Another
yeah.
one. Yeah,
agree.
and it's like, oh,
There's probably 8 things that are real that.
yeah,
Okay, so the other one I had was the auto flusher, and I gotta find that. They're very, I wouldn't say rare, but they're not on every development, that's for sure. But we're having one put in, a developer has to put it in, he's put in a large main. That'll be sitting there for future growth. And the water's getting stagnant, so he has to put in this auto flusher, which is D6. Sorry, one page back from.
Oh. okay,
So this is not very common, but it's happened a few times and we made a spec for it, for what it is. It's an automatic flusher. It's basically a battery operated, large, 2-inch large irrigation device that clicks on and it runs for 20 minutes a day or 20 minutes a week, whatever you want the water to run. And that's what this is. So if you have a problem with a dead end line,
right,
and if somebody's maybe putting in main and it's just dead ending and there's no growth past that and there's only 2 houses on this huge line,
right.
you might have to put an automatic flusher in for water quality. So that's why it's in the specs, but I don't have any changes on it, but
So just out of curiosity, just ballpark, what kind of costing?
this here is about $2,400.
Okay,
Yeah, it's about $2,400, and then the district would have to maintain it. There'd be maintenance. You'd have to go out there and make sure every week or 2 weeks that the dechlor tablets are in there, because you want to dechlorinate the water and then change the battery once a year. And make sure it's functioning, but that's what this is, and it's not super common, but I felt like it probably should be in the specs for us, just so we have.
No, we have-
access to it.
With like one of the developments I'll be proposing, down the road here, there will be a dead end. Like behind, one street up above Blackwell, the running north, whether it's 5 houses or 20 houses, but at some point it's a dead end, because you're not gonna do anything beyond the power lines. It's Tacoma City Light power lines.
So you could control that if you, and I don't like this, you could control that in another way.
Sure.
If you know, hey, I got a dead end,
Yeah.
I'm not butting up against another water district that maybe 20 years down the road, we wanna tie together.
Right.
There's nothing, you're out in the middle of nowhere, it's power lines, we're done.
Yeah.
You can control that, cause you can step down the size of the water main.
Right, sure.
So there's not so much there, so if you have 3 or 4 homes
Right.
there, they would be keeping the water used.
Right, I'm trying, it's like a conflict, because it's like, I'm trying to size it
Right,
to drive it, but at the same time, and have standards for the port, but at the same time, I can see stagnant, even like the
Right.
last 200 feet could be an issue.
and sometimes you have to just flat upside for friction loss itself,
Yeah,
because you're
right,
already
right,
working
right.
on a low pressure deal. 8 inch are gonna flow a lot more water than
Yeah.
this little 4 inch, and they're
Right.
gonna have more pressure, so. And that's maybe where this comes into play, honestly, it just sits down at the end of the main, it does its thing.
I would say, that, as far as product, first of all, being in here, I have no problem with it being in it.
Yeah.
I think it has a little bit of qualification requirement, meaning, like.
On where it would get used.
Where it gets used. In
Right.
other words, if you only had an extension this far to the door, probably not.
Right, but at least the port would have this to draw on in the future, they would say, hey, you got.
Well, like say, the other fellow that owns property above my place decides just to go run a line and then stop and dead end. And we determine, look at it and say, hey, you're gonna have 200 feet of line that isn't getting pulled at all. Then you might wanna look at this.
Yeah, and then I've had these put in before, and then sure enough, 10 years later,
Yeah.
something happens with the county, they say you can develop all these houses on 5 acres. And then this just gets pulled out,
Yeah. Put on the
and it can
shelf,
be reused somewhere else.
I'd agree.
But at least it's a resource for the district, that's all I had for the changes and the actual specs. Part of it that I know of as a. Okay.
I don't see any issue with any that was raised tonight. Any way, shape or form, so. Let it rip.
Okay, I think they're pretty real and pretty substantial and pretty modern as far as. For years to come.
Right. Okay, so let me grab my notes. Okay, so we'll stop working on the water plan at this point for that issue, and then members, between now and the next meeting, kind of bone up on
On the written part.
the developers. Extension manual, as well as we've. I'm sure we have received copies of the port stuff, where we can get to it.
Yeah, I'll send out an email with another copy of.
Yeah, it's just easier that way. We know we got the most recent copy.
Of the port's past policy.
Right. And then that'll be kind of our homework. Right, Scott?
Oh, he's all, yeah,
I can feel it.
yeah.
Well, I'm a little bit old school, so I just set it up, so we read the whole thing and then we kind of, you do my.
We're the old school, okay? Anyway, okay, moving right along, new business. I just, what I did is pull a couple things together dealing with as-bills. And I just pulled the wax so that when we look at these different things we're doing, making sure that it's syncing up with them. Because like, when I read it and what we do doesn't seem to be quite in sync.
As far as the drawing part of it that we just covered, or,
Well, some of that, so in other words, And I've only looked at cursive, so I can't really explain it, and by the next meeting, I'll explain exactly what I'm
Okay.
saying.
I'm curious, yes.
Because, for example, and we're kind of doing it here, like we're putting specs here. Like, for example, they actually say in the, if I read it correctly, in the wax that, okay, when you present, your drawing, your record drawings, you actually specify like each valve, what valves you're using exactly as part of that record's drawing. And so, if we have the link, to this, they'll make it easier for the engineers and the people to.
Right, like the valve, I think. If the valve is one of them that you remember, I think it is specified in there, and it's gonna be a Mueller resiliency.
And I'm not saying it's not
Okay.
yours, what I'm saying is like in the drawings we just went through,
Oh, yeah.
it wasn't called out that way.
So when we finish this process, this needs to go to all the engineering outfits around.
Right,
This also needs to go to the wholesale houses. So they know when they're actually bidding the material,
right, sure,
they have
yeah,
this, and it's plugged into their
I'd agree.
bid. So that has to happen, and all the engineering firms, cause they're, the developers can pick whoever.
You're right,
And they would have this.
Yeah.
That's a thing.
right. But all I'm just saying is, as an example, what sticks in my mind right at the moment is, yeah, this shows a valve, but it really doesn't say much about it.
Right, so
Whereas-
that's what this would be coming
Yes.
into play hard,
Yes,
yes.
and that seems to be called out in the administrative code, state of Washington's code. That record drawings need to call out these things.
I'm with you. So
Yeah.
did you want to talk about the ductile iron thing? Cause that's in the written part of the spec. Or did you want to talk about that? 'Cause-
This fair, I can tell it's hot on your mind, so let's go.
No, it's in the written part. I didn't wanna move on and everybody feels like this written part's done if it ain't, because the ductile iron is a thing. That's
Okay.
what it shows. in-
So you're saying it would be helpful if we kind of nailed down the ductile iron thing, so when we're reading this, we're running with ductile iron.
Well, if you're saying that these are kinda good and we're good.
Yeah.
We're not, because the ductile iron's in here.
I know.
And that's what it is, so.
And there isn't a provision for being able to use the C900, because
No other pipe but ductile, and that might be a problem. We
Yes.
can
so
address it
that's
now.
something that we definitely need to address.
Okay, well, let's,
I don't know if it's tonight or the next
If you-
meeting, or,
if,
and I'm open to whatever you want to do.
well, the as-built is pretty much like I just described, so we'll read up more and I'll cover it
Okay.
next meeting, so that's that. As far as any other new business, the only thing that came up in my mind is, and this is kind of randomly, is, and it's dealing with the water rights. We have this extension till 2030. And if it's possible, just give us, 1 month total or something from last summer or something. A heavy month, but we're gonna, like I looked at our last what do you call them, the WEs or EUs or whatever.
ERU,
Yes, well, no, there's
Okay.
that, but there's a water efficiency, there's a report that you turn into the state Department of
yeah,
Health.
woo, water use
Yeah,
efficiency
yeah.
report, yes.
If you look at the last one, the port bid, we're only using just under 11 acre feet. And we had this one permit of 14 something, or either 14 or 14 something.
That was the original
Yeah.
water rights.
And then you have another one for 300. And we might, I don't. That's gonna have to be explored, because between now and 4 years from now, we're not gonna end up using up all those, 300 acre feet. And yet we wanna maintain, I would think the port would wanna maintain, as much toehold
Yes,
on those for the future.
just basics on the woo report, and I don't know where the port's at.
Yeah.
But you should have source meters. Is
Yes.
there a source meter
Yes.
on the well?
Yes.
Okay. And then this came up with the Mason Water Group that I did not know, because we're required to take a reading every day of the source meter.
Right,
And then I have to figure out at the end of the month what we pumped each day.
right,
And then I have to figure out what we pumped over the month. And da.
Yes.
And then I have to turn that into the state. Well, at the Mason Water Group, I'm telling you, there was a lot of blank faces, but
Right.
a lot of them ain't doing it.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
And I was
We
shocked,
turned in our first report this month for that,
Yeah.
right?
just,
So-
just actually today.
Okay, yeah, I did mine today too, so it has to be in by the 10th, I think. There's a requirement there, but I do it every month.
Right,
So then that gives you real data to go back on and stuff, so.
But they literally sent it to us literally before or after it was due in January. The notice.
Right, so,
I guess what I'm saying is if we could, it's a cure. It's not a problem we need to work right now, but it's a concern. Based upon my experience with water rights, it's a concern that you need to just keep trudging along, because at some point, the port's gonna need to talk to engineers on this and say,
right,
what do we do?
I'm
Because
with you,
I don't wanna, if we end up, say, because the way the tribes are coming down on it and the way the different parties are
Sure.
coming down on it. If the unfortunate situation is that the port has to relinquish some of that because it's not using, we need to have really good educated numbers so that it doesn't go beyond a certain point.
so how I've been doing it forever, and it's just to get better data, so I can answer those questions
Yeah.
I was talking about. I do a flushing. So anytime we flush any water, obviously, it's recorded.
Good,
And I estimate, hey, this is what we're doing. New water mains going in. Flushing log, we gotta fill this 8-inch
Yeah.
main that's so far.
yeah,
Flushing log, hey, how much water is that? How much did
Yeah.
they use for their flushing to get the
Right,
chlorine out, or
right,
whatever?
yeah.
And we keep track of all that.
yes,
And then we went around and started making sure our system's pretty tight, then we were finding. People were just randomly tapped in and this
Yes.
and that, so we've cleaned up a lot of that, and anytime my guys run any water. That's not accounted for to a meter, which may be at a well site or
Yeah,
something
sure,
random,
sure.
we make flushing logs heavy. And then that, along with
yes.
the source
Consumption.
meter and the consumption, I kind of come up with my
Right,
water loss.
yeah, and it's not so much I'm after the water loss, it's just knowing what it's really taking to drive
Correct.
this thing, so that if you just don't know where laws
How
are going.
old is the source meters?
Mine is 2008 or 9.
So let's say knocking on 20 years, what,
And then the one down here, what, 2000, when did you get that meter?
Oh. The ports meter went bad, so we replaced it with the meter I had in stock.
oh, it's recent then.
Yeah,
5
well,
years,
no,
10
but,
years.
well, yeah, it just depends on how old it was.
I don't,
They changed out the source meters when I got there.
Yeah.
They were old. It made a world of difference to have accurate data.
no, I agree.
And they say that, mechanical meters like that. Last about 10 years is all before they really start dropping off the cliff as
Huh.
far as accuracy. So we went around and we changed every meter in the entire system for the customer side too.
Oh,
Along with our source meters, our data's getting real good.
yeah.
And the revenue's getting better, and. So, it's a thing.
Yeah, I can tell you with meter, which is gonna be our primary well here shortly, probably in April, or May. When they switch. That one, because I was concerned about loss. I went and tested each house, the meter relative to consumption, what have you. And found that all the source meters were within 1%.
Okay.
Or excuse me, all the consumption meters was within 1%. And then more than about 20 times the cycling, because I had bladder tanks and working it. Got it down to within a gallon to 2 gallons range. That every time the pump cycled with the bladders that currently there, and then measured and measured and measured. And basically we're within, again, 1 to 2%.
So,
Yeah, but no, it went in, like I said, in 2008, 9, somewhere in there, so.
Okay.
But,
What else you got, Jeff?
so, ductile iron, let's go to ductile iron, because the rest was. I gotta get data, what are you thinking? You
Yeah.
game, you game?
We can maybe do it next meeting. And we can
Let's
just
do
talk
it,
about it.
let's do, this is not on the agenda, so let's just
Okay.
add it for the agenda that we're gonna hit the ductile iron and get that behind us next meeting.
What's it usually cost?
That maybe that's something I'll gather up over the next, between the next meeting and not, and can the next meeting be shorter than as far as time frame, or are we gonna wait a month to do this?
That's up to,
I won't be at the next meeting, so I'll be gone the 23rd through the 20th, so we've got a month.
Yeah, I'll be gone that last week in March of 2021. There's a
And,
conference.
this is weird. I'm gone the second week in March. You're gone in the third week and you're gone in the fourth week.
I think 20th to something, wherever that is, that's,
So unless we're having the meeting by next Monday,
yeah.
looks like this
I'm not working, you guys can do this without me.
Well, but no, but the ductile iron one,
I think there's a difference on cost wise, but what's it cost to put up for? As
From
far as
what I've
cost
seen,
goes?
the cost of ductile iron right at about 10" starts to become comparable to C9M.
At
But-
10-inch size,
At
okay?
10" size, but as soon as you go below 10" on ductile iron, it's adversely more expensive than C9M.
So
So
we're
if
just
you're,
gonna-
if you're doing big mains, ductile iron is definitely cost wise the way to go.
Do we have like is this in the standards, the ductile iron standards? There's different ductile iron out there too,
It's class 52.
so it's class 52.
And that's what I'd like to see, what the
Okay.
cost is. I have a picture on my phone in the truck that has C900 that just got laid at another development. I wanted to show you guys that, but that is a problem. And at the end of the day, I wanna see if it's $5 a foot more or 10 or 2.
Right,
I
right,
wanna see what it is. I don't know.
right.
And the other thing is, the district can inherit something forever
I
and
know.
a day.
I know,
And there are problems that happen with the C900 over time. That's a maintenance problem.
right,
So, anyhow, but
but it's, but it sounds, well, I don't know about you, but it sounds like the soonest would be meeting would be the fourth week almost. Cause I'm gone the second, you're gone the third, right? Or-
I'm gone from March 23rd to April 20th.
Oh, you're
you
gone.
wanna do it next week or no?
I can't do anything soon. I've got too much with the comp plan going on.
Oh, you're right in the middle of that. Oh, boy.
Yeah.
What's this, let's go the other way. What's the soonest you could, Travis?
The next regular meeting.
No, no.
It's,
Okay,
April.
which is
It's
okay.
April.
It might be what it is.
Yeah, what is-
And then, after that, maybe that's when we can pick up where we have maybe a meeting every 2 weeks to get some of the stuff in.
Okay. Well, then we'll, at this point, schedule, the next
Okay,
regular
April.
schedule in April.
And
And
I
that's
encourage,
April 1st is the next regular meeting.
Okay, April 1st, okay?
I encourage you guys to be at the Mason Water Group on Tuesdays, so
The
if you
10th,
can make it.
that's the 10th,
I'll
right?
be missing that.
Oh, you're
I
out?
got a contractor doing some work for me on that.
Okay.
That's the.
They had to show up between 9 and sometimes, so far away from the meetings started.
I think it's 10 o'clock.
10
If we meet out there in Limerick.
10 o'clock.
But that's also the 10th, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah,
I believe so.
yeah.
We've been getting pretty real turnovers.
Yeah, I think there's probably 30 people there last time.
Okay, so,
But yeah, I agree.
Maybe more was soon. I was just counting people.
okay, so we've discussed new business, general water system discussion. We kind of did that with rolling into ductile iron. And next meeting is April 1st, 2026. And next item is public comment. Is there?
So we didn't really attach the
Is that a deal, the document?
documents that you provided for the wax.
Right, but I'm gonna do some homework for the
Okay.
next meeting. On that.
Okay, right, we kind of did go over that.
It's
Who are these?
Yes, it's of course, yes. That's related to,
Related to,
well, these are plans, but then this is starting to come out wax, and there's some other data that I didn't send, so
alright,
just. We'll get it next meeting. Thank you. Okay, public comment, I can't tell, do we?
Yeah,
no, there's,
I'll double check. There's no extension.
Yep, nobody has applied, only one participant, that is us.
I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
Moved and seconded, all those in favor?
All right.
Aye. Meeting adjourned, thank you.